to Above All Else, a podcast for women looking to grow in their relationship with Jesus. I'm Brianna Frajowski here with Jen Kish and Emily Bird, and we are so excited to be with you guys today. I mean, how's it been? Y'all doing good? We're all functioning and doing well. Perfect. So we are just I'm okay with it. I don't know if y'all are okay with it, but I feel like it's a big topic, so I want to give as much time for it as possible. But to y'all stop me if that's not okay, but we are going to be talking about boundaries with our kids. And that is a big, broad topic, and I think sometimes the word boundaries is misused to be a weapon when in reality it is such a protective thing, protection for you, protection for your kids. And so Emily, I'm gonna throw it to you first. And so this is when I sit back and just glean all the wisdom from you guys. But Emily, tell us a little bit because you have like obviously multiple ages because you have multiple children, but you have two out of the house, two married out of the house, and then you have two still in the house. And so obviously your boundaries, those things are gonna look different, just different stages of life. So tell us what you do, what you did, how it works, what's going on with our favorite birds.
My goodness. I don't know if I'm the one to talk on this or not, but I can tell you what I'm doing. I hope it's working. I can tell you where we've messed up. Woo, but I am learning the importance of boundaries, especially with older children and children who have moved out, children who are now married. And it's been eye-opening because I just didn't, before we were in this stage, I've never really thought about it. But just had a conversation like 2 weeks ago, and we've always been in our family, we've always been so open, and you can just share. We really have no secrets. We just don't. But now that I've got two daughters who are, they're living 5 hours away from each other, and one I get to see some, I don't get to see her as much as I would like. One I don't get to see nearly enough, but we'll do the family FaceTime and that kind of thing, but I'm also talking to them individually. And I accidentally, as I'm talking to one of the daughters, ended up telling her what another daughter had told me and the things that they had been doing. It wasn't anything terrible. It wasn't, but it, as soon as I hung up, it dawned on me, I'm sharing somebody else's information. That's not my They are now two separate families. And I have to begin to think, Emily, we're not all around one table anymore. That is their own lives. And if they want to share that information, then allow her to share it with her sister and vice versa. I can't be this go-between. So, and not that anybody's asking me to be a go-between. I just need to really be careful what I'm sharing, what I'm saying, so I'm slowly but surely learning boundaries that Madeline and Clara now are their own. They are their own. They're their own families. They are now officially extended family. As much as I don't want them to be, and I'm glad that they're married, and I'll still, but they are doing their own thing. So there's no longer requirements that I can have for them. And so, and I know that, but um seeing that be manifested in reality and how it really looks, I would have told you, oh, I've got this. I know this. I know what it looks like. But it's really kind of hard. We're gonna have a family get together. We'd love for you to come, but if you can't, that's okay. You are doing your own thing. You are responsible to your husband, and your husband is responsible to you. You are no longer responsible to me. Um, so um being able to truly what Jason Bird and I don't want to say we pray daily over it, but we have prayed a lot. Lord, help us to truly cut those apron strings and let them be. Um, I am not a girl I'm not a phone girl. I'm just not. I'm not a caller. Um, but I'm not going to be the girl who is going to be calling the daughter every day. And as much as I would love to talk to my girls every day and hear about their lives and all they're doing, that is a boundary that I've set. If they want to talk to me, I would love for them to call me. They are welcome. You know, the door is always open, the phone is always open. I'm going to always answer if they call. But me myself, I'm not. I will keep that to a minimum. Um, I'm not going to allow my neediness because, and I wouldn't say that I'm a needy person, but I found myself really I miss my big girls here. I
Mhm.
do. I need them, but I'm also I'm also not going to. I feel like it would almost be like a guilt trip. Does that make any sense? Not like
Mhm.
if I impose my neediness on them,
Mhm.
that's not fair to them. They need to fly and do their own thing and not worry about their mama, and that's fine. I really am okay with it. So I'm learning my boundary. Um, Proverbs 25:17 in the class that I teach at co-op, we studied all last semester on Proverbs 25, memorizing that. And Proverbs 25:17 says, "Seldom set your foot in your neighbor's house, too much of you, and they'll hate you."
Mhm.
I like that one really hit a nerve with me back in the early fall. Too much of you, and they'll hate you. I I don't want
Mm.
that to be I don't want that to be. So
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I set very, very good and loving boundaries. They know that they're always welcome. I'm going to invite them, but if they can, I'm not going to be hurt. If they can't make it, I'm not going to be hurt feeling because I know life is full. Um, and I'm also not going to be hurt if I'm not included in the information or that I'm not included in the invitation sometimes. Or if the in-laws are there and I'm not there. Hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
And the more and more that I let that go, the more content that I have been. So these boundaries that we're setting, I really am learning it's for me too. It's for my good pleasure and my good joy. And so I'm slowly but surely learning that or how to maneuver two separate families and incorporate them within ours, but yet realizing they are two separate families. Um, so what are y'all's comments? I could talk more, but this is not about me. I'm making it about me.
Well, and I'm just listening to you talk, and I think that what you're doing is giving your girls a really big gift. I mean, I think that the pressures that they may feel, if they feel like, well, I have to, do A, B, C, I have to make sure that mom is okay with me not being at this dinner or that thing, then I think that you've really given them that opportunity to leave and cleave. And I've been reading some in the last probably 6, 7 months about this stage of life, like letting our children just kind of go. And as one of my kiddos moves closer to marriage, we're not engaged yet, but they're definitely very serious and moving in that direction. Um, I'm starting to see, okay, what's this going to look like for us? And one thing that I read that I thought was really interesting, or actually I didn't read it, I heard it, and it was part of a sermon, but the pastor said that when your child gets married, like your daughter gets married, you're not adding to your family. They are creating, like I'm not getting a son. As much as I love my girl's man, I love him so much. He's not coming to be part of my family. I mean, he will. He's taken that role so well already. But I have to remember that they are going to create their own family, and I already feel that pull. That is going to be so different. Like you just put it into words. They're no longer part of my immediate family. Like it's setting the dinner table for two less at your home, and here we're doing one less for now, and so that is just kind of eye-opening to me that if you just if you just reframe it in your mind and you think about it a little bit differently, I'm going to give them this gift of this boundary so that they have the opportunity to cleave to one another, so that my girl is not coming to tell mama what, what's going on, and because I can't, I'm not going to be that sounding board for you. Now, of course, if it's we always do the disclaimers on the podcast. If it's something, dangerous, or our kids know they can come to us. But if you're mad that he left his soda can on the coffee table, that's a conversation that the two of you have to have, and not you and I. Now we're mad at him. That's not we have to make sure, just like we were talking on the last podcast about making sure our kids don't come and drive that wedge between mom and dad. We have to present a united front to our kids. I think it's good to start letting those adult children, you know, you guys, this is between the two of you, and we're happy if the two of you want to sit down with mom and dad, if you need some advice in an area, or you need some wisdom over some part of marriage, that you feel like we could contribute to a conversation together. That's different. And I think that may be necessary at times if they are having, consistent problems with something that they just want help working through. So we want to be present in that way. But I was just listening, and I love that I've gotten the opportunity to sit and hear it from your perspective. Emily, thank you for doing all the things first so that Bray and I can take some notes.
Learn from my mistakes.
But it's so good to hear, because when you hear somebody say it goes, "Oh, you know what? You're right." Like I am no lo I saw my son, and I don't mean to talk about my kid on the podcast, but he said he and his girlfriend have been together for 6 months, and he said something, happy 6 months to my favorite girl. And I went, oh, wait, like, I want your favorite girl. Like, it is that shift. I mean, he's almost 18, and I'm not gonna be, I've seen the opposite side of that. I'm not afraid. My dad is 65 years old, and I haven't talked to him in years, and y'all know the story there. But last I spoke with him, he calls his mom, is every day his mom. He's talking to his mom, and his mom's bailing him out. If he's in trouble, his mom is coming to his rescue. And I'm like, you guys are old. Like, you didn't leave and cleave, and I don't want that. I've got to go. I'm so glad that you have a favorite girl, and it's not me, so just moving ourselves out from the center of their universe in our own minds, and trying to step back and be supportive of what's happening now. I have a lot of these thoughts recently, because even with our girl at college, I'm not talking to her every day. I'm not calling saying, what are you doing? Where are you going? How are you spending your time? I'm trusting that we did all that we could do to raise her up to this point. She's 20 years old. I've given her over to the Holy Spirit. Like, she's following the Lord, and I'm trusting that if she needs to be corrected in a way, that it's him now. Now she does live here still part-time. So when she is here, there is, we're in that weird space. It's awful sometimes, but of like trying to figure out how we live together part-time. I feel like that's going to be short, but the boundaries there are important, letting her try out these wings that she's got. But I'm just thankful for you having the godly wisdom to take what your girls are giving you and learn, and try to make the right decisions here along the way. And I'm grateful to get to learn from that, because that is a challenging season.
It is a challenging season, but it's been so good, and my girls were ready to fly. And um, I will say, when you're talking about leaving and cleaving, I never thought that I would be ready for my girls to leave. But there is a leaving that happens within parents too. It's like we're ready for them to leave. Like there's a reason that birds kick their chicks out of the nest. Like, okay, it's time for you to go. Exactly right. So,
Those birds
um,
did two in 1 year. They said,
yeah,
wait.
yeah, I'm hot trying them left and right. But um, but there is a natural pulling away that happens, and I knew that when my girls were 18 and they're in their last year of high school. I could feel that leaving that was happening even within us. But then college came and then they came back home and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And I've got these adult children that are living here. It's that part-time weird that it's like, do I set rules for them here? No. They know how we live in this house. They know what is expected to be under this roof. If they don't abide by our rules, then um we have a discussion. But when that adult child, college kid moved back home for the summer or whenever we were in transition, yes, they followed our rules, but I wasn't asking them, where are you going? That's another boundary. I'm not asking where you're going. What are you doing? What time are you going to be home? They are adults. I trust you to make good decisions. If you come home and you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, then we'll have a discussion. That if you're trying to bring things into this house that we don't allow, yes, this is our
Discussion.
we had thanks the Lord, knock on wood, we never had that problem. They have always been very respectful, and I'll give Adeline and Claire that over and over and over. They were easy adult children in this house, but I also had to remember they are adult children, adults, and
Yeah.
treat them as such. I can't have them come back and, okay, well, you've gone curfew at 10:30, or you
Yeah.
need to tell me X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
So, but one of the things that Jason Bird has done really, really well with um, is these men that are our son-in-laws. When they're having, if there's a car problem or there's, they're living life now. They're doing house things, and there's a lot of adulthood that comes when you get married and you own all of you're doing your own insurance, you're doing all the things. And I have found myself, Jason Bird, this, help them. And he's like, I will never step in and say anything unless they ask. So if you're
Hmm.
having car problems, sure. And Jason Bird will say, they know I'm available. They know if I can help them, I can give them advice, whatever, but I'm not going to give them advice unless they ask. I'm not going to step in unless they ask. And that he's been so he has been the leader, very much the leader in this whole shebang. Um, I did say one time, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait! We're going, our family's finally getting some testosterone. We're getting boys in this family." He's like, "No, we're not." Like, "Oh, but we are. We are." He's like, "No, we're not." And he is the one who continually tells me, "Emily, they are extended family." And this was before either of them got married. So it took him reminding me they are their own family. So all of this stuff is Jason Bird. And so he's doing really, really well letting them be. And I'm kind of I've been following his lead for a while. So you're saying thank you, Emily, but I really is like it's Jason Bird, because he's got a leg up on me. And I'm
And
just
I think that's awesome for a girl dad too. You know,
I do
I think
too.
that's a
I do too.
big thing for a dad who's used to being the oil change and the tire pressure and doing all of the things. If my little girl has a problem, like I'm the one, like I'm the guy. I think that is a big deal for him to say, nope, that needs to go through your husband first.
I
And
do
if you
too.
guys again together call me for help, I'm here, but you got to learn to lean on him. And
Yeah.
whew, yeah, that's a big,
Yeah.
I think that's a big one for the girl dad. And you were talking too
I do too.
about um not asking the adult children, and we're there. I mean, we're there pretty much with our 17-year-old. I mean, he'll be 18 in a couple of weeks, like I said. But it goes back to that. Somebody said years ago, if you train them when they're young, oh, what I don't know what it is, but if you take the time to discipline and teach and train, and Lord gracious, we've made our mistakes, I promise, and we've had some hard times with our kids, but we are in a sweet spot where I don't have to tell my 17-year-old to be home at a certain time. He's not going. He's going to go out and he's going to be in. Like he's going to come home, and I don't have to ask him where he is. I know he's at McDonald's, the gym, Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, or at his girl, like there, I know where he's going. And of course, I've got his location too. And he is really good about saying, "Hey, mom, I'm going to run here or there." But it's not really anymore. Is it okay if because we're already really feeling that he's a man. I mean, he really is, and we're proud of him and the decisions that he's making. So it feels good to get to a place where I don't have to be. I feel like we've got a little bit of a breather in this space, but where we're just kind of like just trusting that we've put in the work, we've taught them as best we can, accepting that we have made some mistakes along the way, but setting those boundaries of being overbearing and helicoptering and because that separation is beginning. And Jared and we talk about this all the time. And I know sometimes my kids will pop in and listen to the podcast, but we don't want them to be super comfortable here. Like we want this house to be a little bit uncomfortable. We want you to be a little bit upset that your favorite food isn't like I can make you your favorite meal, but I don't have your grocery list and like your air conditioned room with your Wi-Fi and streaming, like this is not, we don't get too comfortable.
Right.
This situation is temporary, because we've got the friends with 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, living at home, and some of that is they have to come back and get on their, that's whatever, that is what it is, but this is not a long-term relationship. So I want you to start feeling that I'm nudging you a little bit to the edge of that nest, and I think that's good, and I think it's healthy, and it's something that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about it. And I don't know if it's because we think, oh, we shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't want them to leave. I don't know what it is, but in my living room the other day, I got to see Emily in person the other day. But in my living room the other day, you kicked that leg out, and I was like, yes, that is us. That is us. We have felt that way too, and we love our kids. I love them. I love the people they are. I love when they're here. I love to hear them all laughing together, all my big kids together. But I also really love that there is this independence and this breaking away, because that is the whole point. That's what I'm doing.
Roots to wings. We want them flying. We want them flying. So absolutely. That is the whole goal of parenting. And so it's a success when they leave. And it is bittersweet. And there's always my uncle sent me a card the other day, and he was like, Emily, it's been such a huge banner year for you. You've got two girls, and I'm going to share my news. You've got two girls who have left, and you've got one who's expecting to be a grandmother.
Yeah.
A grand, so, but it's been such a big year, such a huge year, and just so wonderful. But he also said there's also an undercurrent of sadness in the fact that that season of life that I so enjoyed is done. And it is like I loved raising my babies. I love raising Lindsay and Aaron. I'm so glad that I've still got two left here. And I know right now, honestly, and let's talk about Adeline and Chase and having a little one. My heart, I think about this little grandbaby all the time. And every day I pray something specific for her. Today the day is I'm praying against allergies. So I'm praying that the Lord will keep allergies away. Peanut, egg. I've listed them all as my thoughts have gone on. But so I've so enjoyed praying over this little girl and praying over her salvation, and I just feel such a connection with her. But yet she's not mine. She is my granddaughter. And when Adeline is talking about certain choices that they're thinking through, I can't speak into that. The Lord is sending her to your home, not mine. You've got to make your own decisions. I'm not even really going to tell you what I think, unless you just ask me, Mama, what is your opinion? Where do you sit on this, whatever the topic may be. And we just had a really serious conversation the other day, and I just need to be quiet, and let her think through things. She's not my child. Right now, my main responsibility is not my granddaughter that's coming, but it's the two girls who are still in my home.
Yep.
And as much as I want to be with this sweet little girl, oh my goodness, and just I've got two girls who are very much involved here, 5 hours down the road. And they're my first responsibility. So
Mhm.
I'm looking so forward to pouring into this sweet little girl, but I also know that my first responsibility is here with my girls that the Lord has given to this house,
Mhm.
not to that house. So again, I'm learning new boundaries. And so I do hope to be I hope to be that grandmother that is fun, who listens, who asks lots of questions, and is so interested in this little girl. But she is not mine to raise, and she's not mine to say, "Hey, I think I don't, I wouldn't do that." It is their home, and we've all been around those people who want to take over our parenting, and that doesn't go well. So I'm not going to be that person. So
And so I obviously don't have adult children. I've still got these two little ones, but as an adult who I moved out, went to college, I never moved back home because of that weird dynamic. Like I couldn't live part-time and it was weird. So I was like, I'm just
sure.
gonna not go home. Um, so, but I have experienced with, even my sweet grandfather who like I loved him dearly. I still, like he's with Jesus. I loved him, whatever. But he told us one night, Joseph and I were not coming to Thursday night dinners in Trenton, Georgia, because it was a long way for us to drive and we were really busy throughout the week. We had just gotten married, like we'd only been married for maybe a few years. I think this went on probably even until I think right until after we had Braylee, right after we had her. But I was told one time that I needed to keep the main thing the main thing. And what he meant was you need to be at family dinners on Thursdays with all of us because we are your family and you are not keeping the main thing the main thing. So my main thing was Joseph and Braylee, not I love my sisters, I love my mom, I love my grandparents. They were not the main thing. And so I think coming from a family if my mom, my sisters are listening, like they would concur, we know no, like my family did not understand boundaries in any way, shape, or form. And so it's important though for people coming from my perspective to hear you two and to hear that, hey, listen, as an adult who is married now, it's okay for me to set boundaries with my mom. It's okay for me to say, hey, you know what? I know that you love your granddaughter and I love your love for her, but she's ours. We don't need, like, I will definitely come ask you if I have questions. So I think hearing from you guys and like how to set boundaries is phenomenal. And I've been like note taking over here. But like also want to encourage those people who are kind of in my situation where maybe your family didn't have boundaries and it is okay to be the one who sets those boundaries if your parents are not, if those boundaries are not being set. They're ultimately to protect you, to protect your parents, to protect everyone involved. So anyway, I have just loved though getting to listen to both of you. You are both so full of wisdom and I'm glad both of you are going through this first so that I can just be like, that's what we're going to do and that's what we're not going to do. So I have loved it. But anyway, it has been an absolute joy and I think opens the door for a lot more conversation just about what does this look like? Even from, an adult perspective, like how do we set boundaries for our families? What does that need to look like? So anyway, I loved it though. Loved hearing you both. So we are so excited though, just to get to have these conversations, and we will be back with you guys in 2 weeks, and we can't wait. Bye.